From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Friday, September 22nd. The final last day of summer. We're not going to have as much cloud cover as we did yesterday, so much more sunshine. Temps are going to be in the mid-80s, so as Marcus Bailey was saying this morning, it's going to feel like a midsummer day. Again, mostly sunny, dry day with some light winds out of the east-southeast, and we are gearing up for a great weekend ahead for all of the things that are planned throughout the city this weekend. And today, more auto workers may walk off the job. The UAW says it could expand its targeted strike by noon today if negotiations don't show progress. Union members in Ohio say they're hoping for a breakthrough with the big three auto companies.
Hopefully the corporations can see it's in nobody's best interest to expand this or extend it. You know, the quicker that we can come to a resolution is the quicker that we could get back to making quality products.
In Kokomo, people are preparing for layoffs. As we've reported, Stellantis announced it expects to lay off about 300 workers at the plants there in response to the strike. Adam Street says his wife works at Stellantis. He tells News 8 that it's hard to know how the impacts are going to impact his family.
My wife's going to be out of money, and then that's going to affect the amount of money I make here. So it's kind of scary. I think everybody's going to be all right in the end, but it's not something we're hoping lasts very long.
The strike does not currently include any Indiana plants, which could change depending on what the UAW decides later today. Also today, a court appearance for a woman accused of stabbing her 1-year-old niece at a motel in Castleton. Sharon Key faces charges of criminal recklessness and neglect of a dependent resulting in serious bodily injury. Investigators say Key was trying to stab her dog when she accidentally stabbed her niece Tuesday night. According to police, Key says her dog had grabbed Key's sandwich. Key grabbed the dog to get it back, and the dog growled at her, so she grabbed a knife and tried to stab it. Instead, she missed and wounded the baby. Key is held with no bond until her initial hearing set for 9 o'clock this morning. From my teammate, the Marion County Sheriff's Office is now offering a $10,000 reward for information leading to an accused killer's arrest. As we've reported, the sheriff says a clerk mistakenly released Kevin Mason 9 days ago. Authorities said yesterday they're following leads from reported sightings of Mason across Indianapolis. Deputies expanded their search to other cities nearby but didn't share which ones. Earlier this week, Sheriff Kerry Forrestal mentioned understaffing is plaguing the department. ITMate's Cody Fisher asked yesterday just how much it may have played a role in Mason's wrongful release.
Again, I want to reassure you and the public that our focus and our goal this second is to recapture Kevin Mason.
Do you have the staff to do that?
That'll be all of the questions that I have at this time.
And you heard Cody there pipe up asking a follow-up question. Does the department have the staff to find Mason? That question went unanswered. The sheriff's office has said it is more than 200 deputies short of a full staff and blamed low starting pay. IMPD will increase patrols this weekend to crack down on street racing and spinning. News 8 has been tracking the local increase in the dangers. We've gotten several videos of spinning with people doing donuts dangerously close to crowds. As for racing, state police say they once stopped someone going 186 miles an hour on 465.
It's frustrating that members of our community and oftentimes members of other communities who come to Indianapolis are engaged in this irresponsible behavior, and that our officers are having to respond to this. It's something that we expect more of people, and this weekend that people can expect more from IMPD.
IMPD is not saying exactly where the extra officers will be. Investigators ask you to call Crime Stoppers if you see racing or spinning. The number is 317-262-8477. A Fairmount police officer has resigned, and an investigation is underway after his police dog died in the back of his patrol car. Fairmount police say Canine Zeus died September 10th. His partner, Officer Kyle Vincent, resigned 2 days later. The department has not released any other information about what may have happened other than state police are part of the investigation. In your multicultural spotlight, local health advocates are working to improve Indiana's maternal mortality rate. The Indiana Minority Health Coalition held a panel discussion on the topic yesterday. The event included representatives from Anthem, United Healthcare, and more. They pointed to data showing Black women are 2 to 3 times more likely to die in pregnancy than white women.
4% of pregnancy-related deaths are actually preventable. So it's on us to do something about it. When we look and
almost 50% of women are saying that their birthing experiences are traumatic or trauma-inducing.
The speakers also touted apps like Count the Kicks, which lets expecting mothers actively monitor their pregnancy. They also say more hospital systems are implementing implicit bias training. Local artists are upset that a well-known mural is suddenly gone. A Broad Ripple business where the mural stood painted over it. The mural honored Mposi Tolbert, a local artist, DJ, and former photographer for the Indianapolis Star. After his death in 2006, Dan Hanskills painted a mural of Tolbert as a DJ with angel wings on the side of a building on Guilford Avenue. The current owners of the building painted over the mural. Hanskills says the point of the mural as a memorial is now lost.
I didn't take it as any sort of a personal affront to me or my work, but the point of the mural of Mposi and the point of the mural of anyone who's dearly departed is so that there's a talking point to keep the story going.
Hanskill says he's considering repainting the mural in a different location. A filmmaker and former News 8 reporter debuted her documentary at a local cinema last night. The Girl in the Yellow Scarf documents the 1968 murder of a 21-year-old black woman in Martinsville. The local Can-Can Cinema in Indianapolis hosted the premiere. Sandra Chapman says it is the most detailed narrative of Carol Jenkins' death to date.
Today is a culmination of years of work. It's a culmination of just a vision that I've had to be able to help preserve history and to ensure that Carol's legacy lives on.
The documentary will play to a sold-out crowd in Rushville on Saturday. It will then air on PBS and other media platforms in the fall. State police are looking into why a man was walking along 465 before a semi hit and killed him. It happened just after 9 last night in the westbound lanes near Harding Street. Police say a trooper tried to save the man, including applying a tourniquet, but medics pronounced him dead at the scene. Police say the semi-driver drove back and is cooperating with the investigation. A judge sentences an Indianapolis woman to 18 years in prison for running over her boyfriend, killing him. A jury found Galen Morris guilty of voluntary manslaughter last month. Prosecutors say Morris admitted to using GPS to follow Andre Smith to Tilly's Pub in Castleton. They say Morris found Smith with another woman. There was an argument. Then Morris ran over Smith in the parking lot as he was leaving the bar. Border Patrol agents say more migrants will likely cross into Eagle Pass, Texas over the weekend. Authorities say nearly 9,000 asylum seekers crossed from Mexico this week alone. The mayor of Eagle Pass declared a state of emergency in response. He says it's a shame there's not a solution to prevent situations like this.
We're here abandoned. We're on the border. We're asking for help. This is unacceptable. Please just enforce the laws that are on the books. We're a nation of laws. That's all I ask for, is that it shouldn't be like this.
The sheriff of Maverick County says he thinks cartels are driving the current surge of migrants. The Biden administration says it's sending 800 troops to the border on top of 2,500 National Guard members already there. And today, the White House plans to tell federal agencies to prepare for a government shutdown. That's standard procedure 7 days out from a stoppage. The race to reach a deal has deeply divided House Republicans, leaving the plan of Speaker Kevin McCarthy in tatters. Republican hardliners showed their resolve, blocking a defense bill that is usually popular, sending it back for the second time this week. Such moves have McCarthy frustrated.
This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down. It doesn't work. Look, I know it's an obstacle, but I find it as a challenge, and we're going to solve it.
Lawmakers have left for the week. McCarthy had previously pledged to keep the House in session into the weekend to finish their work. 2 adults are dead and several teenagers are hurt after a charter bus crash in New York. The bus was carrying high school students to band camp. It went off the road and tumbled 50 feet down an embankment. Police say 44 people were on board. The bus was part of a caravan carrying musicians, color guard, dance team members, and chaperones from Long Island to northeastern Pennsylvania. New York's governor says tire failure may have been what caused the crash.
But there's a lot of families that need some love tonight. And we extend that from 20 million New Yorkers who all know how much we cherish our children, our adults, our band leaders. And life will be a little bit emptier without them. So let's keep them in our prayers this evening and as they recover from this horrific, traumatic experience.
Officials say the crash killed the band director and a retired teacher. Convicted murderer Alex Murdaugh pleads guilty to 22 counts of financial fraud and money laundering. He's accused of stealing millions from his clients. The plea requires him to pay his victims restitution and forfeit $9 million in assets. In exchange, prosecutors are recommending the sentence be served concurrently to any state charges for the same crime. They say they will seek a lengthy term. Murdaugh is already serving 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole for the murders of his wife and son in 2021. In the war on Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky is assuring American leaders that Ukraine is winning. Zelensky met President Biden and Senate leaders in Washington yesterday to discuss the next round of aid. The administration has pledged a $325 million package for air defense, artillery ammunition, cluster munitions, and more. The U.S. has delivered $113 billion to Ukraine since February of last year. Americans appear to be getting reluctant to send more to Ukraine. A new CNN poll indicates 55% oppose more funding for Ukraine. Zelensky is set to address the Canadian Parliament today. All right, weekend things happening around Indianapolis. The Farm Aid Music Fest is back in Indiana this weekend for the first time in more than 20 years. It all kicks off tomorrow morning at 11:30 at Ruoff Music Center in Noblesville. There'll be live music from the likes of Willie Nelson and John Mellencamp. The concessions sourced from family farms, think organic and grass-fed. While entertaining, its purpose is to raise awareness and prevent the loss of family farms across America. Much of the money raised also goes toward keeping families on their land. Today's Spark on the Circle is highlighting International Car-Free Day. The event's hosted by the Central Indiana Regional Transportation Authority. It promotes car-free or car-light journeys and alternative methods of transportation. The launch this morning included free breakfast from Wild Eggs. The Do will then perform at 11 o'clock this morning. There will also be giveaways and prizes. Also today, an event aimed at helping people find jobs as they get out of prison. It's called the Tower Career Fair, named for a program that eases re-entry into the working world after incarceration. It's at the Hamilton County Jail. The job applicants are people still in custody but getting out soon. Organizers reached out to local businesses to be there with interviews and possible openings. The James Dean Festival begins in the actor's hometown of Fairmount today. It runs until Sunday. You can see a classic car show, a look-alike contest, a 50s dance contest, food, rides, and more. Classic Car Show features about 2,000 cars in Play Acres Park there in Fairmount. Admission to the festival is free. The Carmel International Arts Festival is Saturday and Sunday. Organizers say it's a chance to educate the community through the arts. They say more than 100 artists will be there across different disciplines. The festival will have exhibits, live entertainment, and food and drinks. Tomorrow, this year's Walk to Defeat ALS takes off from the state fairgrounds. Christy Marsili with the ALS Association previewed the event on Daybreak yesterday. She says money raised will support national and global research initiatives to find a cure. The walk starts at 10 o'clock this morning. There is still a little bit time left to register. It depends on what time you're listening to this podcast. If you're listening to it before 10, you can register online right now. Just look for it in the As Seen on Wish TV section of wishtv.com. And finally, to business headlines, the Writers Guild of America and major studios held a marathon bargaining session Thursday, but there was no agreement reached. The writers and studios will resume negotiations today. The LA Times says people close to the negotiations described the tone of Wednesday's bargaining as positive, but that reports of the two sides being close to a deal were off base. Google is working to push back the expiration date of Chromebooks, addressing concerns held by school administrators that the laptops are too short-lived to be cost-effective. Chromebooks are popular in schools because of their cost. When the laptops expire, school districts recycle them, sometimes at a cost, and spend millions of dollars on replacements. Kroger says it will expand regionally sourced items, expanding by 10% if Albertsons acquisition gains regulatory clearance. Kroger says it will work with local farmers and have signs highlighting the products. The deal to buy Albertsons grocery is expected to close early next year. Corn prices are hovering near their lowest price since 2020. In fact, commodity funds now have their most negative view on corn in nearly 4 years. Starlink just got approval for next-generation hardware. One of the new Starlink dishes was a mini version made to be more portable for customers. SpaceX explained the mini dish will allow consumers to enjoy the benefits of high-speed broadband wherever they live or work, including in rural and remote areas where mobile or portable applications are necessary. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand for even more on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.